sounds good. I'll have that.
What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and we talked about Battlefield 6 the other day and how the game has female voices in it so that while you're playing the game, you will hear a lot of female death screams. Now, to be clear, because I think a few people misinterpreted the point of the video that I made the other day, I don't think that the female voices in the game makes Battlefield 6 unplayable or woke or anything like that. What I was really complaining about specifically was this right here. When someone got onto the Steam community hub and very politely asked for a way to toggle off the female death screams, the community managers decided that was hate speech and they banned the guy.
Come on, that's a bunch of horse shit.
So, while I am not pleased with these community managers, what I am pleased with is the game itself. The combat in Battlefield 6 truly looks like a return to form for the Battlefield franchise. It looks like a no-nonsense kind of game being marketed as a testosterone-fueled title. I mean, look at the cover of Battlefield 5 from several years ago. It's pretty clear what they were trying to do with this, and now look at the cover of Battlefield 6. No bullshit, no agenda, just some soldiers doing soldier things in a way that will appeal to masculine sensibilities.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Oh yeah! Last year, one of the most important releases in the gaming industry was Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. In a world where woke crap was flopping left and right, this game was a very male-oriented combat game, and it succeeded massively. I think Battlefield 6 is in a similar position. I don't exactly trust EA, the publisher of Battlefield, but on the other hand, I think it is important that we incentivize these studios to make games that we like by supporting them when they do a good job. And thus far, Battlefield 6 is getting a ton of support. Just look at the Steam charts for the game's beta. They cleared 500,000 players this weekend, breaking the all-time record for Call of Duty on Steam. And honestly, that isn't surprising. These numbers just go to show how thirsty gamers are for a no-nonsense, straight-up combat experience.
This diva needs her stage.
Hey lady, shut up!
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, I've begun uploading some content onto Rumble too, so make sure you follow Dr. Disaster over there, and don't forget to follow me over on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster 1. I keep a list on there of games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account at all times for your reference, but at least so far, Battlefield 6 does not seem to belong on that list. I'm not thrilled with the community managers that we discussed the other day, and I think that their BS deserves to be called out, but that doesn't soil the whole project or anything like that. The community managers are undoubtedly hires by publisher EA themselves, and they are going to be out of the control of DICE. In fact, if there is anything about this whole game that concerns me, it would have to be the involvement of EA. Earlier, I made the comparison of Battlefield 6 coming out this year to Space Marine 2. 2, in the sense that I think that Space Marine 2 stood out as a symbol in 2024 of something that gamers actually want, and I think Battlefield 6 looks like the sort of symbol this year as well that we saw with Space Marine. There doesn't appear to be an ounce of woke in it, keeping in mind that the female soldiers aren't being pushed front and center or anything like that. I only hope that EA allowed a game to be made without progressive crap in the same way that Focus allowed Saber Interactive to cook with Space Marine 2. But in defense of EA, they were the publishers for another game which did very well earlier this year. Split Fiction was a massive surprise that came out of nowhere and sold millions of copies, and it was just a video game without any hints of woke in it. It was allowed to be just a fun game. And in fact, it's noteworthy that this game is being adapted into live action, and Sydney Sweeney was actually cast in one of the main roles of the movie, which is based as hell if you ask me. She is exactly the actress that people serious about selling movies ought to be casting. But yeah, circling back around, the Battlefield 6 gameplay looks sick thus far, and in my view, unless they give us a reason to change our minds, which I reserve the right to do, but in my view, we should embrace this game and celebrate its success like we did with Space Marine 2 last year. This is one of the chief reasons why woke has been in remission. The people who support that shit are such uncompromising, hardlining a-holes. If you step one toe out of line and disagree with the mob, they try canceling you. But over here, on the other side, we're pretty chill. Imagine you're walking down the street looking for a place to party, and on your left, you see a bunch of people all saying the same things and acting all nervous because the moment someone says something that doesn't conform to the orthodoxy, they get yelled at and spit on and crap like that. And on the other side of the street, there's another party going on, and it's just a bunch of guys laughing, having a good time, and they holler out at you and say, "Come on over, dude, we've got cookies." That is where our strength has come from. It's true that EA is a soulless, awful corporation that has explicitly said things against gamers in the past, like the "don't like it, don't buy it" moment that happened with Battlefield 5 several years ago. But from a strategic point of view, if we want to win the culture war, we have to be receptive when someone caters to us and comes around to our point of view. We don't want to be like our adversaries, like the wokesters, who simply are completely unreceptive to apologies. They're completely unreceptive to anybody thinking anything that isn't precisely what they think. So, with all of that in mind, I am thrilled to see Battlefield crushing the likes of Call of Duty. As it says in this article from Insider Gaming, Battlefield 6 has smashed past the 500,000 concurrent player mark on Steam, surpassing Call of Duty's all-time high of 491,670. This is extremely gratifying because recently, Activision came out and said they aren't worried about Battlefield 6 because Call of Duty is simply too big to fail. This tells us an awful lot about the mindset of the makers of Call of Duty. If they believe they're too big to fail, then they aren't going to put a ton of effort into developing a game that we want. Why would they? They think they're too big to fail. They don't believe they have to put much effort into it. And this frame of mind is precisely where wokeness sprang from. These studios thought they could take these big name franchises and do whatever they wanted because gamers would swoop in and buy it no matter what. Well, I sincerely hope that Battlefield 6 eats this year's Call of Duty for breakfast. And based on these preliminary numbers for Battlefield 6, this definitely has the chance to be the biggest game of 2025. For some perspective, their peak beta player count of 521,000 is actually much higher than the beta for Monster Hunter Wilds, which hit 463,000. And that game ended up selling 10 million copies in its first month. that title has, without a doubt, been the biggest game so far in 2025, but Battlefield sure seems like it has the potential to go even bigger. And look at how the beta for Battlefield 6 has brought in so many players, and compare that to the beta for Battlefield 2042. We don't have any Steam data for any other betas in the franchise, but Battlefield 6 is crushing 2042. And you gotta think, 2042 had a whole bunch of features in it that people didn't really like, and that game was fresh on the heels of Battlefield 5 putting a rotten taste in everyone's mouth. They seem to have largely abandoned, though, the poor marketing strategy that we saw with Battlefield 5, where female soldiers were front and center in all of the marketing despite the World War II setting of the game. Battlefield 6 appears to be a very testosterone-driven game, and considering the immutable characteristics of most gamers, this seems like a wise choice. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your support for masculine-styled games that are actually allowed to be, actually masculine. Drop that support into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.